All right, everybody, I want to welcome you back to our very first episode. We talked about this a little bit over the past week, and we want to do a little after the show thing. Michael and I have a very, very big issue. The problem is we like to talk a lot, and the problem that we have with that is that our conversation that we have is not enough because we always end up having more to say. So Michael actually gave the idea this past week that we do an after the show, so it'll be a little short, about 10 to 15 minutes or so, that we share some additional thoughts that we did not have the chance to get into within the episode. They will be on YouTube as you're watching this, or if you're watching on Facebook, wherever it may be. We'll be uploading that. That way, kind of give a little bit of variety of content and have sort of a big YouTube audience. That's all I got. So,
Yeah,
Michael, you want to?
and so that you guys can see us, because I mean, you may
Yeah.
have seen Bill, but you have not seen me.
Right.
But I actually changed my looks quite a lot, so I've got a beard going for the winter.
Yeah.
And then I'll look about 5 years younger come spring and summer.
See, and I've tried that. I have people that say, like, why don't you try growing a mustache or a beard? Because I'm naturally supposed to be a redhead, and I shave. I was starting to lose it, but I shave it because I've never liked hair. I mean, growing up, when I start to get bedhead, I'm shaving it off. So now that it's actually going, it's like, yes, that's less I've got to deal with. But the facial hair I can't do because once it gets to a certain length, I'm like, I can't do it.
It's
and
scratchy.
it's like it's time to get rid of. So I don't know. I can't do it.
I would say, though, for some thoughts on what we talked about, so we talked about Exodus 20, so the 10 Commandments. And then when I was reading through, I was waiting for the golden calf. And I was like, where is this golden calf? Because it's funny, like when you hear the story, you get all these commandments, how to live. And then the Israelites are down there partying, worshiping a golden calf after they just heard, you shall not have any other God before me. You shall not do
Right.
this. You shall not do that. But it wasn't until chapter 32, so I had to look that up. But during that time, from 20 to 32, Moses is getting a whole bunch of other laws and like ways that God wants him to live. So like we went over the 10 Commandments, but as you keep reading, there's specifics about everything. Even the Ark of the Covenant and the Tabernacle, when I was flipping through, like my Bible has pictures. I'm like, this is in there too. So it's like crazy how much God gave to them and really emphasizes the wrath of God. Like later on when Moses comes down, he breaks the the tablets and is going to have to go back up there and then eventually asks who is still with God. The Levites come to him and then God tells them, take your swords and kill people. And like 3,000 people were killed while they're having a block party of sorts. So just like, wow.
Yeah, there's you mentioned coming down with the 10 Commandments. A side note here. I don't want to promote it. I will.
Moses went to the mountain, and God spoke unto him.
Moses, this is the Lord thy God, commanding you to obey my law. Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. A deaf man could hear you.
What?
Nothing, Gonish, forget it. Oh, Lord, why have you chosen me? What would you have me do for you?
I shall give you my laws, and you shall take them unto the people.
Yes, Lord! Lord, I shall give these laws unto thy people. Hear me! Oh, hear me! All pay heed! The Lord Jehovah, has given unto you these 10 commandments for all to obey.
These commandments are a means of holiness, like you were talking about, revealing who God is and our nature and how He responds. But what came to my mind, and it's in Exodus. Well, we are in Exodus actually. I think it was actually towards the end. We'll go with that, so I don't have to look it up. He's given this outline for the attire of what the Levitical priest should wear. And as you read it, and I actually looked it up. I remember years ago I looked up the wardrobe of a Levitical priest, and just to really get a visual, and it's a really beautiful thing. And by comparison, the Levite priests were looking amazing. Meanwhile, the normal attire of your everyday people was wearing a robe or a tunic or something, something not as flashy. But when I read that, and you see that through these commandments, is God's not just putting this in place to, say this is I'm God and do this, but to really set us apart, to make us a holy people. Like the pagan nation, they're off doing all of these things. I don't want you to do that. I want you to be better than that. I want you to be special. I want you to be unique. And that's one of the aspects of these commandments too, is like we shared in the episode, it was a purpose because of God loves us. I love you, and here's what I ask so that we can grow in a relationship together. So those are my thoughts on that particular piece.
Yeah. Anything else?
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a very tricky question to ask, right? You should never ask Bill, do you have anything else to say? It's like I've got so much in here that I need to say.
It's like a 90s infomercial, but wait, there's more. Yeah.
A couple more minutes, maybe?
Yeah. Well, and you talked about in our last, towards the end of the episode, that, we don't know our Bible. And, I think that's really a problematic thing. Is, when I'm in conversation, I haven't had one in a while, but we have people that would come across, like I remember having a conversation years ago. I was giving, I don't remember what the topic was, but I was giving some sort of theological discussion or explanation on something to somebody, and their response was, well, I don't know, let me ask my pastor. And I can understand that, you're in the faith, go ask your pastor, he knows more. But I mean, we should never be in that mindset of, I'm, 34, 50, 60 years old, whatever your age is, and continuously be, well, let me see what my pastor says. And each of us has different walks. We come to the faith at different times. But if we'll take, my age for an example. I came to the faith, I think I was, 15, somewhere between 15 and 17. I don't remember. But around that age, so we'll do 17 or 20 just for an even number to work with, easier on math. I'm 34 right now, so it's been about 10, 15 years since I've came to the Christian faith. And if I start off with, let me ask my pastor and see what he thinks, and I'm still at the point, let me ask my pastor and see what he thinks as a means to affirm theology, that's a big red flag to us, because it says we don't know our Bible. We haven't been opening it. We haven't been studying it. We haven't been growing in our relationship with God. And
haven't read Proverbs, the lazy man. Are we lazy? We're not taking time to... Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot to that. And I still do go to my pastor, and I say, like, what are your thoughts? But it's not really what does the Bible say about this, or what does this mean, or how should I live kind of concept. It's more of, here's what I'm seeing in the scriptures. Here's how I'm understanding it. What are your personal thoughts? Really just to kind of get confirmation, and, being that he does have more experience, there might be certain things in there that he knows better than I. It's like, well, you're on the right track, but consider this particular issue here and harmonize that. And that really helps to solidify and expound the original theological issue that I was thinking of. So, we need to constantly be in our Bibles, and that's really the focus. This is kind of like an additional commentary, have some snacks kind of thing, and, whatever you want to do after the show. But, that's really the purpose of these, the podcasts that we're doing, is to help those people know their Bible. And then we have this episode here, which we're kind of fine-tuning a little bit. Hey, I've got some additional thoughts. So that is all I have right now at this point in time.
Yeah, I would say, too, if you're wondering how you can read the Bible, obviously pick it up. But I have a study Bible, which we mentioned on the show. Here's what it looks like. Now that you can see me, it's got my name.
I was going to ask you about that, yeah.
But it's got like this much at the bottom of each page, depending on the chapter of the Bible you're in. But it'll give like history, back notes, send you all over the Bible. Like when we're talking about in the Old Testament, it leads to Jesus. Well, it'll say, check this out in Matthew when he says this, or you're in the New Testament, it says, what we're talking about here, go back here. So I found that to be really engaging on like the intellectual, logical, like let's study, like the study Bible, you study it. But if you're having trouble reading from like, I don't understand it, or it's boring, like some of those may be beginning thoughts of someone who doesn't really understand it. Something like a study Bible, or my older sister, there's a couple good apps out there that like do a deep dive on the things, like provide commentary. So there are some good resources. So that's what I would encourage you. Like I do think it's important to have an actual physical Bible and like bring it to church and read from that. But there are a lot of good resources where you really don't have an excuse.
Right. Yeah, and see, and I'm a huge proponent for having a hard Bible. I mean, because it's you memorize things better. Like, I mean, as you're reading the Bible, like, and I had a hard time when I first, and I still sometimes find myself in this. My original study Bible was a little bit more smaller. It was the voice translation. So I was reading that for the longest time, and I've memorized where verses are. And, when a verse comes up, I'm thinking, okay, it's on the left page, about halfway down. I have it highlighted, and it's right under, I've got the visual in my head. And now I'm in a ESV MacArthur Study Bible, and it is completely different, or at least as far as memory goes, because I'm trying to look for this verse, trying to find that page that I remember it, and then, it's not there because I'm trying to memorize it based on my other one. But, memory, that's good because you have this Bible, you've read it enough, you've underlined it, you've marked it up, where the stuff is that you're looking for. So it's a lot easier than having to scroll through your phone, trying to find it, because it's all the same text.
And I think people get distracted, even at the young adult group I go. I'm like, are you texting? Are you emailing?
Right.
Are you on your phone? Are you on social media? Because it takes just one little drop-down notification. And I'm like, unless you have everything turned off on your phone, you're in church on your phone.
Right.
And I just get annoyed because I know I would be tempted to do that too. And like when I'm reading in the morning, I turn my phone upside down and push it away because all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, here's an idea. I need to set an alarm for this. I need to do this. And I'm like, oh. So it's just so hard if it's only going to be on your phone.
Yeah. And like you said, it can be helpful. Like, I've got like, how many do I have here? I've got a couple different Bible apps. I've got one I don't even use, but I've got MacArthur Study Bible app. I've got the Blue Letter Bible app, which that one I would personally recommend. There's a lot of tools in which that has. I've got the Holy Bible, the YouVersion one, but that's just because they have a lot of more translations that I can kind of compare to. Yeah, I got logos, but I don't even touch that one too much. So, there's a lot of resources out there that you can use to study. Get yourself a Bible app that has your translation, but I would recommend just using that as a quick lookup. Like, for an example, I'd be at work, be talking about something. Okay, well, let me pull my phone out and find the verse. But my preference is, of course, have a big old brick in front of you. It's, 5-10 pounds, whatever these things weigh. But yeah, so that's, pretty much what we got for the show. We're, just going to give some final thoughts here on whatever it is we talked about, give you guys a chance to, throw your comments in, let us know what you think. And brand new ideas, so we're still kind of playing with it and see as far as what we're going to do, what we're not going to do, how it's going to operate, and so on. So love to hear from you, what your thoughts are on that. Michael, do you have any closing things here?
Have a great rest of your day. Make sure you are subscribing to all of these different channels.
Yeah, I forgot that.
But more importantly, read your Bible. Like, just try it for the next week until we talk again. And maybe write into the show or the comment and let us know what you're experiencing as you're doing that, because I know you will see some differences in your life.
Yeah, and I also want to point out real quick is that all the subscribing things, all the links will be in the video. We'll also have because this is kind of like this is the after show thing based on a series in which we're doing over the 52 greatest stories of the Bible. We'll have a link for that in the description as well, because some of you might be like, well, what are they talking about kind of concept? Well, we're talking about a particular book. It's a devotional book, and we'll be talking about some text that's in there. And so if you're curious about that and you want to follow along with this little journey that we're doing through 2024, I would strongly encourage you to get yourself a copy of the book and have some fun with it. So.